following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
They've come to New York City for the year-end championships of women's tennis, and they're ready to go. Today, the world's #1 player, Steffi Graf, goes for her 5th Tour Championship title, and what a year it's been for Graf. Her opponent, Martina Hingis, at 16 years of age, could be the game's next great player. Ready to go, Steffi Graf and Martina Hingis, perhaps the greatest player against a future #1 player of the world, Martina Hingis. ABC Sports presents the Chase Championships of the Corel WTA Tour. The only best-of-5 sets final in the women's game, featuring 4-time defending champion Steffi Graf and the up-and-coming 16-year-old Martina Hingis. Hello again, everyone. I'm Robin Roberts. Throughout the year, players play in tournaments to accumulate points to earn the right to come here to New York City for the Chase Championships. Only 16 players, the top 16, are invited to come. Steffi Graf and Martina Hingis are in the final. Perhaps it could be an indication of what we saw earlier in the week. On Monday, we bid farewell to the popular Gabriella Sabatini. On Tuesday, Monica Seles retired with a bad shoulder, and we said so long to Kimiko Date with a ceremony. On Wednesday, emotions ran high, and the game of Arantxa Sanchez Vicario soared. Day 4 turned into frustration for Lindsay Davenport. That same night, Eva Maioli turned pain into gain, upsetting Conchita Martinez. Friday was a sad night, as Kimiko Date played for the final time, and Gigi Fernandez and Natasha Zvereva played their last match together. And yesterday, Jana Novotná gave it her all, but lost to Graf. And Eva Maioli just didn't have enough to beat the new Martina. And it has already been a memorable week. Taking a look at the draw from the quarters on, Steffi Graf had no problem advancing to the semifinals. There she was taken to 3 sets by Jana Novotná before winning. Same goes for Martina Hingis, moving on to the semis easily before taken to 3 sets by Eva Maioli. And I'm joined for this match by Betsy Nagelson and Pam Shriver. It is an intriguing matchup, Pam. We have the rookie, Martina Hingis, going up against Steffi Graf, who's anything but.
Well, Steffi Graf, another spectacular year at the Grand Slams, winning all 3 that she entered. However, since the U.S. Open, she entered 2 tournaments and was unable to complete either one. Last week in Philadelphia, had to default after losing the first set to Jana Novotná because of her bad back, which has become chronic. Here you can see she's shaking her head, ready to retire in the match. This week, though, due to a good schedule, a couple days of rest, and no back-to-back matches until today, the back's feeling pretty good, but she has to play 3 out of 5 sets. She is familiar with the injury issue.
Seeing the physical problems that I've had the past 2 or 3 years, and to still be winning all these major tournaments seems a little odd to me, even though I always play well when it comes down on the big points or the big matches. But still, with the little training that I have, to still have that success is, I don't know what to say. Maybe it doesn't really speak all the way for the women's tennis in the moment.
Well, Steffi doesn't give herself enough credit. She is compiling the greatest record in the history of women's singles. She's kind of like women's tennis version of Michael Jordan. They don't come along very often.
Oh, that's pretty good company. She alluded to the lack of depth in the women's game, but Betsy, come on, she's playing a 16-year-old. The future does look bright.
For Martina Hingis, it certainly does. I mean, I think most people in tennis, when they saw Hingis come along, knew they were looking at a future #1, and it just may happen sooner than a lot of people expected. She has been playing some of the best tennis of anyone in the last couple of months. She reached the semifinals of the U.S. Open, her first ever Grand Slam semi, and since then, she has played unbelievable tennis. She's won 20 of the last 22 matches she's played, 2 titles, and just a couple of weeks ago, on a surface similar to this, annihilated Monica Seles 6-2, 6-love. She's up against Graf, a player she's beaten before, and happy to be here.
Yeah, it was like my little dream to qualify to this tournament, and last year I only could watch on TV or some of the first matches, only could pick up my newcomer award, and now I'm here and standing in the final, so it's a great feeling.
So the stage is set, Steffi versus Martina. Haven't seen that in the Garden since 1989. Okay, that was Martina Navratilova, the first of many references, I'm sure. Come on back. Plenty of tennis ahead, everyone.
The Chase Championships of the Corel WTA Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Chase. At Chase, the right relationship is everything. Evian natural spring water from the French Alps. Return to the source. Cadillac and your Cadillac dealers. And Corel WordPerfect Suite.
Back here live in Madison Square Garden. Remember, this is the only best-of-5 final in the women's game. Steffi Graf and the 16-year-old Martina Hingis, the hottest player of the fall.
And Steffi Graf, of course, very familiar face, #1 in the world, seated #1 here.
And Steffi will serve first against Martina Hingis. An appreciative crowd is always on hand in the Garden. Remember, it's a best-of-5.
Good point from Hingis. She plays with no fear. I mean, 16-year-old, she can afford that.
And Graf falls left 30 on her serve.
Well, she's 27 years old. She has residences actually all over the world, including New York City, one in South Florida. Of course, she's a German native.
Martina Hingis, just her first appearance in the season-ending championships.
And just 16 years old, 2 months ago. And she was born in Slovakia, and at 7 years old, moved to a small town in Switzerland.
Just wide. Steffi wants to go up and take a look at it, just to make sure. Calling the action from the chair is Jane Harvey, always in command of the match.
One of the most experienced umpires on the Corel Tour, and that's something players love to see, a familiar face up top there.
And so Martina Hingis with the early break. Come on back to the Garden, everyone. Martina Hingis, her first service game. She's up 1-love. The power of Steffi Graf, especially on the forehand side.
Yeah, it's her strength, and that is going to be a very key thing in this match if Graf can produce enough winners, because Hingis is going to get a lot of balls back. She's going to try to draw errors from Graf. Graf made a couple of errors in the first game. That's the thing right there that Hingis does so well. I mean, from nowhere, she can just, boom, win her down the line.
And it's a smart play to hit the second serve wide to the forehand, because then it opens up the backhand side of the court. She's having to hit a lot of second serves. She only served 53% coming into this match, and Graf can really punish some of these second serves.
And again, the touch to Graf. 2 break points for Graf.
Well, this time you see some of the touch from Steffi Graf, the finesse backhand. We're used to seeing her hit the slice. It's perfect. It looks just like her drive, except she cups it, takes some of the pace off.
Graf returns the favor and breaks Hingis right back. 1-all in the first set.
And the first really brilliant point of the match. I always feel at the start of a big match, you don't feel great until you've had one of those rallies where you've run all over the court and you get that heart rate up. And I expect now in the third game for the players start to settle down and start to play some really good tennis.
Again, Graf trying to draw Hingis into the net. Hingis is a player who likes to be at the net. She'll take advantage of anything short. She'll move in. She's got tremendous strategy and court sense, Martina Hingis.
And an ace there by Steffi Graf.
Number 1 for Graf.
And this weekend, every time there's an ace, $250 will be donated to Hall of Famer Althea Gibson, who is ill.
Well, it's great for Althea that Steffi Graf is in the tournament, because that was her 19th ace for the tournament.
Only counts for the weekend, though. So once again, both players struggling with their serve.
That's the first time Graf has missed her first serve.
Well, that tells you something interesting about Martina Hingis, because she broke Steffi Graf in the first game and was leading 15-30 when Graf did miss her first serve. So that means that Hingis is not intimidated by the power of Graf's first serve. Look at her standing right along the baseline.
Oh, perfect timing there.
Can't help some of those. I mean, Graf hits the extremes very well on the serve on both sides. She also loves on this ad side hitting the big one out wide.
Our first deuce game. Just wide. Just wide.
But it's something that Martina Hingis does well. She missed that one just by a couple inches wide, but she changes direction of the flight of the ball as well as anyone on the tour right now. She went cross court with the return, and then she tried for almost the winner up the line.
Her third ace. Steffi is the first to hold serve, and she leads 2-1 in the first set. A look back to Steffi Graf and Anke Huber in last year's final at the Garden. Huber was hot coming into the final. But Graf turned back her fellow countrywoman in 5 sets to win her 4th year-in championship. And we're back live. Hingis leading 40-love. She's down 1-2 in the first set.
She's actually picked up the pace of her first serve, hit a couple of serves that Graf didn't hit back. Matter of fact, that's the 3rd one of the game. So it's a great confidence builder for the 16-year-old, having dropped her opening service game to come back and hold to love.
What was that, 30 seconds perhaps? Goodness. It's best of 5, Martina, best of 5.
A shot we've seen about 1,000,000 times from Steffi Graf, a forehand winner. Here you see number one, and look at that career earnings heading towards over 20 million. There's only one other woman player that's crossed 20 million.
Oh, I know.
Okay, Robin, go ahead.
The other Martina.
Speaking of prize money in millions, last week and 2 weeks ago, Martina Hingis became the youngest ever to go over the $1 million mark.
Still a long way to 20, though.
Give her time.
Hingis didn't even have to move. Graf was trying to take the overhead and go behind her here. Hingis on the stretch just holds her ground, and that compact, deadly backhand down the line. She reads the ball so very well. People talk about how well Hingis moves, how much she has improved her movement, but she does anticipate so well.
And she has 2 more break points.
The other thing about Hingis is her movements oftentimes seem effortless. She has great balance, and when she takes her racket back, it's such a natural thing. She hits on the run very well, and that forehand volley just wide from Graf.
Well played from Graf. Opened up this match with a couple of breaks. Still a break point here for Hingis.
And Graf loves to go cross court with that slice backhand. Everybody knows it. So when she goes up the line, a lot of times you are leaning left.
Well, anything in the middle of the court you can say goodbye to. Best feet in the game. They never stop. And a little look of frustration. Not happy about the forehand.
She's such a perfectionist.
God, when I fight off a break point, I'm kind of happy about it.
But it's 2 she fought off.
Takes it a lot to make Steffi happy.
Steffi talking to herself a little bit. Advantage Graf. after being down 15-40.
Second service game in a row that Graf has had to go into deuce game. Servers having a tough time early.
Set that up with a big serve. Took Hingis out of court. The 11th winner from Graf. Just see how stretched out Hingis is trying to play the return. Graf is able to step in and wrong foot Hingis again. She sure didn't look happy again after that forehand winner, though.
Oh, it's called out, so Steffi is able to hold to go up 3-2. The Chase Championships of the Corel WTA Tour will continue after this from our ABC stations. Square Garden. Hingis falling, love 15.
It's an example of the second serve from Hingis that was not good enough, and Graf was all over it, and Hingis is going to have to be very careful with her second serves throughout this match.
Yet another second serve Steffi will get.
There's the bouncing of the racket that we've become accustomed to seeing somewhat with Hingis as we look at their head-to-head. 4-1 for Graf. Their last meeting was, of course, the semifinals of the U.S. Open. And Martina Hingis had 5 set points in that first set. Could not capitalize on any of them.
And her one win came at the Italian Open in the quarterfinals against Steffi Graf. It's always a good chance that you can wrong foot an opponent when you bring them to an extreme side. There, Graf thinks Hingis is going to go back cross court.
Hingis has such a complete game.
She really does. She can do everything. She can mix up the spin, the speed of the ball. She can create great angles. I mean, tactically speaking, she's one of the smartest players out there today.
You know, it sort of sounds silly, but this is the beginning of her third year on the tour. I mean, she is becoming a young veteran, even though she's 16 and she's still setting age records.
Well, she vaulted in the top 15 only 8 months after she joined the tour. And then she hovered around 18 to 20 for about a year. It's a break point here.
Ooh, and that's a forehand return that Graf would like to have back. It was sitting there for her to hit. She did hit it, but she just didn't close her racket face enough, hit it long. An opportunity lost.
And Hingis battles back. Advantage Hingis.
You just love it when you play Graf, when she gives you two free points like that. When you're serving, she didn't hit good serves there, but Graf made it easy.
Doesn't happen often.
Nope.
The speed of Steffi Graf.
So quick. Hingis trying to do the right thing by coming in off this short ball. But Graf was just too good here. She had an open court. Hingis knows how to volley. I mean, she won the doubles this year at Wimbledon with Helena Sukova.
That's the change of direction play I spoke about earlier. She went cross-court with her two-hander, got Graf to the backhand side there, and then look how she changes direction down the line. So few people can do it that accurately.
She makes it look so easily. It's the most difficult shot in tennis to change the direction of the ball like that. Couple of drop shots that Graf has played. That one paid off for her. Hingis, in that doubles win this year with Helena Sokova, became the youngest ever Wimbledon champion. Got a lot of confidence from that win.
Back to deuce. And just long.
Some brilliant shot making and improvising from Martina Hingis. The backhand slice up the line from Graf was right on the sideline, and Hingis did a terrific job just to get to it and flicked her wrist.
And Hingis holds. It's now 3-all in the first set. We've got the top money winners in tennis here. Coming up next, the LPGA Tour's top money winners battle in the Vegas desert. It's the ITT LPGA Tour Championship. Laura Davies and Kari Webb are battling for the money title. Kari Webb, one of the co-leaders, and Laura Davies just 3 shots back.
Played from Steffi. When she played Novotná yesterday, right off the bat she started to attack because she knew if she didn't, that Novotná would. She's a little bit more reluctant to come to the net against Hingis. Hingis is pinning her to the baseline. But it sure worked well for her yesterday.
Again, the power of Hingis. 15-all.
I think Steffi Graf could do well in this match by staying a little more away from that two-handed side of Hingis. Play the forehand more. It's also a better chance. Hingis hits a forehand. She's going to go back cross-court to Graf's forehand, which is the side that she wants to punish Hingis with. See Graf ahead on the winners, but not by much. It's been a very clean match so far. A lot of winners, not too many unforced errors. That last one from Hingis was more of a forced error. You could see the power from Steffi put Hingis in a tough position.
Oh! 40-15, Graf. Again, using the deception and the drop shot for Graf to go up 4 games to 3 in the first of this best-of-5 final. These have been emotional times for the Graf family. We asked Steffi Graf what it's been like since her father was released from prison on bail 10 days ago.
No question about it. We've been waiting for that moment for 1.5 years, and it's been pretty difficult, especially not being home in the moment. But during the period since the US Open, I've been every week to see him in the jail. So I mean, it's not like I haven't seen him for a long time, but I obviously am going to look forward to seeing him soon.
It has been a long ordeal for Steffi Graf, her father facing tax evasion charges. And she wins the first point of the 8th game.
And she's here this week with her mother, Heidi, who, of course, has been through an equally tough ordeal, although she doesn't have to face the questions as much as her daughter.
Just along, it's amazing how Steffi is able to concentrate and play tennis with all that's going on in her life.
It's her sanctuary.
What all she accomplished last year. During it all, 3 of the 4 Grand Slams that she played. Only lost 2 matches, won 9 of the 11 tournaments entered. And those 2 matches that she lost, first round matches they were right in the middle of several very tough times for Steffi Graf.
So 2 break points for Steffi Graf, her mother Heidi, who is here with her. A lot of support she gives her daughter.
Steffi Graf's longtime coach, Heinz Gunhart, also here with her as her boyfriend. Michael has been here as well, so her support system, -1, has been intact this week.
It's Graf with the break.
There's Heinz Gunhart, who's been with Steffi for about 6 years now. Seen her through 9 Grand Slam wins.
Ironically, from the country of Switzerland, where Hingis is from, former #1 player. Of course, he would have heard about Martina Hingis probably when she was about 7 or 8 years old.
Hingis, so cool, and her mother, her coach, who named her daughter after Martina Navratilova.
And has she been able to balance a very difficult and delicate job to balance the life of a young tennis professional?
A prodigy, really.
Of course, the reason why her mother named her after Martina is Melanie is from the Czech Republic and is pretty close to Martina's age. Well, Graf in serving for this first set, now up 30-15 in a 3 out of 5 set match. Of course, it takes on a little different storyline, but getting out to that 1 set lead is huge, because then the other person has to win 3 of the next 4 to get out of the match the victor.
Graf getting off to a much better start here than they did the last time they met at the U.S. Open. And it was Hingis who got off to a 5-3 lead in that first set. Well played from Hingis. She certainly knows what it's like to play the top players. She's beaten 9 of the top 10 this year, and she's beaten 3 of them twice.
A set point for Steffi Graf.
It's always hard when Steffi Graf stretches you out so far to your backhand side to be able to get it to the Graf backhand. The forehand is always waiting. That's the shot Steffi Graf wants.
And so Steffi Graf holds to win the first set 6-3 in just over 30 minutes, but there is still plenty of tennis left to be played here at the Chase Championships at the Corel WTA Tour. So come on back. A look back to 1996's first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open. And what a way to start the year for Monica Seles. Against Anke Huber in the final, Seles played consistently enough to capture her first Grand Slam win since her return to tennis. The Australian, the only Grand Slam tournament that Steffi Graf did not play in. Back live here at Madison Square Garden. Steffi Graf taking the first set 6-3. First game of the second set.
Matter of fact, Graf did not play in a tournament until the Indian Wells tournament, and that's in March. So we're used to her having a lot of injuries.
So Monica Seles was here, went out in the first round, and really struggling with that shoulder, and had to retire at 5-4 down in the first set to Kamiko Date. A real disappointment for Monica.
Well, Hingis trying a little different tactic there. She was serving and volleying, but it was almost like a delay serve volley. I don't know whether she was confused as to what she wanted, but now 3 break points.
Well, Graf guessed right. She was there for that backhand volley.
Hingis did a great job to survive that point. She was in deep trouble from the moment Graf pounds this shot. A half volley backhand flick up the line. Graf really has this backhand volley. She missed a lot of backhand volleys yesterday in the net when she was playing Novotna.
Still 2 break points.
Well played from Hingis there. Graf has just pinned Hingis to the baseline. I mean, Graf has struck far more winners than errors.
But Graf comes through with the early break in this best-of-5 Chase Championships final.
Hi, I'm Martina Hingis, and you're back. This is Chase Championships.
The youth of Martina Hingis is 16 years old. She's been really refreshing.
Yeah, and she speaks English very well. Matter of fact, she kind of serves as her translator for her mother, who struggles a bit with the language.
What's it going to take for her to... It's still a lot of tennis to be played, but down a break already.
Well, Steffi Graf's playing a very clean match. She has very few unforced errors, and she's going to need to give Martina Hingis some help by missing a few shots.
Just a bit long, 15 all.
Just an inch or two, and that's the kind of point she needs. She was up love 15, trying to get up love 30 on the Graf serve to break back.
Ooh, ooh. Served 91 miles an hour.
Thought she had her 4th ace there.
This gives you an idea of what happened in the first set.
Look at the unforced errors, only 7 for Graf, and remember, she has the high-risk game. She's going for it. She has 16 winners, break chances 2 of 3, only 1 for 3 for Hingis.
Good serving numbers, too, from Graf at 74 miles per hour, because she goes for her serve.
Yeah, 74%. That's very good throughout this championship. Graf has been serving at about the mid-60s. And that's a very good performance to raise that up to the mid-70s.
Now she faces 2 break points.
Well played.
Well played indeed. And so Hingis, to the delight of the crowd here at Madison Square Garden, is able to break back quickly. Back on serve at 1-all in the second set. Tomorrow night, after breaking a share of NFL records, Dan Marino looks for a win at home. The Dolphins have their hands full against the Pittsburgh Steelers. ABC NFL Monday Night Football right here on ABC Sports, 9 Eastern. She'll go for it, that's for sure.
Hingis' serving percentages have gone up a little bit in this first set compared to her average for the week. She's been at just above the 50% mark. Oh, great stretch from Hingis.
So many young players shy away from the net. It is terrific to see how brave she is. A great half volley pickup. This is where doubles maybe helps her out. Terrific stretch. She leans forward towards the net, which helps cut off that angle.
She was doing that even in the juniors, Pam, wasn't she? Remember when she was the youngest ever to win the French junior title in '93 and followed up with another win in '94. And she used drop shots, came to the net on the slow red clay a lot.
Gets it back to 30-all.
And that was one of her best serves of the match at 88 miles an hour, and it came at a good time, down 15-30. She has not held serve since the 6th game of the first set, dropping her last couple.
And it's Graf with yet another break point. She shows so much poise.
You can just see she really wants that two-handed backhand the way Graf maybe wants a forehand. She stepped around that and just clobbered the two-hander.
Looked like it was about to come over. Stayed on Hingis' side of the net. Advantage Graf.
Second break point. And 5 breaks already.
Make that 6 breaks as Graf goes up 2-1 in the second. The Chase Championships of the Corel WTA Tour will continue after this from our ABC stations.
The Chase Championships of the Corel WTA Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Chase. At Chase, the right relationship is everything. And Cadillac and your Cadillac dealers.
Back live here at Madison Square Garden. Steffi Graf up a break, leading 2-1 in the second set. A rare unforced error by Graf.
It was actually a very good forehand return from Hingis right in the corner.
She comes back with a 93-mile-an-hour serve.
There's ace number 4.
That's $1,000 for Althea Gibson. Again, every ace worth $250 goes to Althea Gibson, who's not doing well these days. First African-American woman to win the championships, Wimbledon and the U.S. Open. Former #1 player here in this country, and the world for that matter. Oh, that's a rare gift.
Second error in this game.
Well, that's what Hingis needs from Graf right now, is she needs some errors, and it's the forehand side that can break down as the match goes along.
Oh.
And that's 2 forehands in a row now that Graf has missed. She had a couple of points for a 3-1 lead, and the lob that Hingis placed up were right about on level with the big scoreboard that drops down in the garden. I don't know how much that missed the scoreboard by, but it must have just been by an inch or 2.
Not much.
Now, for someone young, she has good shot selection, but there was a time where she made the wrong choice, especially coming after Graf had missed a couple of forehands in a row. Graf didn't have to hit 1 forehand there. I would have given Graf a little bit of a test on the deuce point. Made her hit a few forehands.
Advantage Graf. And Steffi Graf holds to take a 3-1 lead in the second set. And it's been another remarkable year for Steffi Graf. She still has the same problems, but the results are still the same. 6 titles in '96.
Of course, she's at 21 Grand Slam singles titles, moved ahead of Martina and Chris. Only Margaret Court at 24 has more than Steffi Graf. And she's still only 27 years old.
She's trying to get to victory number 7. Last 10, 11 years, she's won at least 7 tournaments a year. Incredible.
Every year since she won her first title in 1986. She won 8 that year. Ace number 1 from Hingis.
Adding to the Althea Gibson fund, who is having some health problems, in need of some help.
Well, Hingis would be happy to hold on to her serve here. She has been busted the last 3 times she served.
Stay away from the forehand.
Well, and she looked like having a good, comfortable service game, up 40-love, but the last 2 points, including this blast of a forehand return for a clean winner, brings it back to 40-30.
Kept going back to that spot, and Hingis is able to hold. But Graf is still up 3 games to 2 here at the Chase Championships of the Corel WTA Tour.